Yeah, let's fire this. Let's fire this up because we only got 2 minutes. 2 minutes. You know, like you want your $2. 2 minutes until the February monthly close. Exciting times. Exciting times. 1 month, 1 week, 1 day, 1 4-hour period. Okay? Well, the weekly's not closing today, but the monthly is. Take a look at this puppy right here. Huh? That's a bullish candle. That's wild. We haven't seen a bullish monthly close in we had 6 months. 6 months. Now, I don't want to get you all upset or nothing, but the last time we had a bullish one, the next 6 months were bearish. But we're not going to talk about that. That's not what we're here to talk about. Well, we're here to talk about everything. But we do want to see the close. So let me throw on the correct chart, which is not this one. This one, yes, this is the correct chart. Right, so we got selling coming in right now on the 5-minute chart. We got selling on the 1 minute, selling on the 15. We are 26 seconds away from packing this up and calling it a day. You know what I mean? That'll be a wrap for February's candle. Selling's just dumping in here. Here comes the big sell dump right at the end of the day. Jeez. Well, we do like volatility, and that's what we're getting. We got 1 second. Bang! Welcome to March 1st trading. That's how it is. Buying is coming. It's trying to instantly come back in. Look at a 1 minute candle right there. Look at it, the volume already. Transactions being made. All right, so that is cool. We've officially closed out February. That's a big deal. It is the first bullish close we've had in 7 months. Don't mind the noise in the background. You shouldn't be able to hear, but you probably do. All right, let's talk about February. Let's talk about the last 28 days of trading. We opened the candle at 34.13. I'm not going to do the cents anymore because it's just a little ridiculous, all right? So we opened the candle at 34.13. We hit a high of 41.90. 41.90. Remember 41.90 because the high last month was 41.30. Okay, we're back. 41.90. The low was 33.30. All right. And we closed at 37.88. So overall, up 11%, $374. Prior to that, January was minus 7.5%, so minus $279. The candle prior to that was minus 7%, minus 279. So we had two. No, is that right? No, something's obviously wrong here. Okay, 702. Wow, yeah, $279. 279 and 279.50. I don't know why I didn't notice that before. 7.02 and 7.57. Okay, anyway, doesn't matter. This is what we're looking at. February closed good. Now, is the candle good? Right, that's the next question. Is it a good looking candle? No, it's not. Let's be real. Right, it's not a great candle. It's not like you'd have an inverted hammer if this were the case, and it's not. An inverted hammer, the wick would need to be at least twice the size of the body, and you would have almost no trading underneath it. But as far as that's concerned, the candle itself is more bullish than indecision. Okay, so if it's anything, it's bullish, but it's not really much of anything. It's kind of like a reverse thumbtack. All right, so there's nothing too super special about it, but we do have this long-term monthly trend line And obviously, just by the way candles are formed on this chart, it'll open above this resistance line. But this is pretty important. The close is above it, and that's definitely something we want to see. So if if you're bullish, if you're bearish, then you might be angry about the whole thing. I can't really help you. I'm just reporting what I see. All right, on to the weekly. Now we do have 2 more days, three more. Don't worry about it. We got a couple more days until we close this out here. So far, very much indecision. It's a spinning top or a doji. We have almost equidistant trading from open to close, push high and push low. All right, so not much to see there yet. We could see a lot of things happen between now and Sunday. For me, it's only Thursday night. All right, so we have plenty of time to see what transpires. On the daily, spinning top doji, nothing going on here. So the daily close, we lost $10 or 0.26%. We opened at $37.98. We had a high of $38.95, that's pretty good, right? Except a low of $37.41, and we closed out at $37.88. So overall, big push up top, which if you see is right at the bottom of these candles, so that's resistance, right? And ended up smashing back down. So the bulls tried, they failed. The bears tried to push down a little bit lower than this candle here. They failed. So a little tug of war, nobody won, and we're stuck in the middle. And that's what we have. On the 4-hour, it was sideways, new range, not new, but sideways range, nothing going on here. Just, just trading within this little ballpark area. All right, so not overly exciting. Couple moves up, couple moves down. Volume relatively quiet, but I mean it's still better than we've seen. All right, so let's pull up I'm going to close this out because I think that's going to help move things along, right? Ah, jeez, just leave, dude. It's fine. All right, so let's pull up the next chart here. This is where we break down the 1, the 5, and the 15. Now I'm not like breaking them down. We're just going to take a look at what happened now. So we're 5 minutes. We're 6:05. So we just closed our first 5-minute candle. We could see that it was a bullish candle. So everything we lost in the last 5 minutes prior to close, we got right back. And now we got some buying coming in here. Volume slowed down on the 2nd-minute candle and then died off completely. That's kind of what we're sitting at, is just no movement there. If you could see that, I'm not really sure. There you go. Not much happening, all right? Volume is picking up on this candle, but there is only 5 seconds left, so we'll see how the next candle paints itself. 15-minute candle right here is trying to get back everything it lost in the last 15 minutes of trading. Now, if we take a look at the 15-minute chart, we get an idea of this resistance level that we hit right here, this big yellow line. As we tried to push up, you can see this big giant wick. I don't know if you can. There it is. So this big wick right here was just a monster. Overall, it's a 4% candle ranging $153. So, that's no small trading. Obviously, there was some volatility here. A lot of price action both ways. So it could have been a bit of a stop hunt. Could have been to try to liquidate some of the peeps, both directions. So something to just keep your eye on. But it's always good to just have a decent idea of what's shaking on the lower time frames, even if you are a long trader, right? It's nice to know what makes up all those pretty candles you're looking at over on the 4, the 12, and the daily, and for our purposes today, the weekly and the monthly. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, so buying is good. Yeah, buying's pretty good coming in the 5-minute chart. Volume is creeping up on the 1. Nothing too crazy. So again, I'm going to close this one down and try to see if if that helps the stream out in any way, shape, or form. That's what I'm trying to do. Okay, this is Zcash. Yeah, we were playing around. I don't know. I still just have this chart up. Yeah. So, but we're going up. We're going here. This is where we're going. Why? Well, because I want to see what happened in the last 30 days. Now, I understand February is only 28 days, but we're going with the 30, right? So 30 days of history. Let's see how February really shook out, right? Clear winners. BitTorrent launched earlier this month, right? I think it was somewhere around Valentine's Day, give or take. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that was this month. These crypto days, weeks, months, they're disasters. So it's hard to remember all of that. But anyway, up 516%. Of that 516, down 50%. Okay. Poly BTC up 385%. Now, that's a 40 million market cap coin, not micro cap, but still a low, still a small cap coin, but had a great month. 385 up, only 8%, 7.5% loss from that 385. Trend is sideways. If anything, the 12 is showing bearish, right? So a downtrend on the 12. Everything else is pretty sideways. It's a bit of a mess right here. ONG on the tethered pair. All right, so this is another one without too much history. That's what you see here. So BitTorrent's still new. Not enough actual history to paint the 4, 6, 12, and daily. Imagine same thing with ONG. So we do see on the 5-minute chart bullish, up 364%, down 109% of that. So that's not great. That if you saw this without even pulling up the chart, you would think pumping up, right? Just based off of this, you would say, wow, up X amount of percent and down more than our total peak gain. So that's not great. These numbers will be updated as data streams come in. So there's not too much to look at as far as cap is concerned. Now we finally get past the 40 mil. We're in the 70 mil. All right, and that's cool. Engine BTC. What a rip, right? 322% up, 35% of that 322 down. I mean, this is fantastic, right? So 5-minute chart is still in an uptrend. 4, 6, 12 daily, all in an uptrend. 15, 30, and hourly sideways, slightly bullish. So we could take a look at this as like a probable pullback, right? Slowing down a bit in the lower time frames should give us some type of indication that that the trend is not as aggressive, right? So kind of went a little sideways over here. Now the 5 picking steam back up, that's good. Now again, we were looking at 30 days of history, so unless you're a very long-term swing trader, this doesn't do much for you. We would have to zoom in to, let's say, what's going on in the last 24 hours, the last 2 days, the last 3 days, something like that, to give you a better indication of what you're actually seeing there. But just out of curiosity, let's take a look. So let's go Engine BTC, and let's take a look at the monthly, and let's see what's shaking here, because things like in perspective, it's nice to kick back and see what the overall trend is doing. So you pull this up on a monthly chart and you say, like, oh, damn. So this is the most volume we've had since the life of the coin, life of this pairing, Bitcoin on Binance, right? As the candle's concerned itself, open to close, right, we're at 156% up. That's absolutely fantastic. Right now, if we were to look, now we have different targets on here right now for a shorter term trade. But let's say we took the bottom, right, and then we took the top of that candle, right, where we're currently trading is just above the 382. That's this right here, right near that 2618 target. So if you were a long-term trader, a 30-day trader, a swing trader by the weekly and monthly charts, this would be good. You've already seen a good push up. You expect to see a pullback, which you already saw most of. If you were to target, say, the 382 or the 5 and watch this come down, you might be able to get in on a nice big play. All right, but, there's not a lot of history here, so it's hard to tell. But coming back on the monthly chart, let's do something like this real quick. Say, oh, man, look at that. Right, that's monthly support resistance levels, and we're trading just above it. Just above it. Not much. There's not much there. So it's a key level of support, we could say, and we're getting into the area of price discovery. A little bit more and you're in price discovery. So this is really good. It's something to keep your eye on. That's why I like, when we get towards the end of the month, I like pulling the scanner up and seeing, what happened in the last 30 days. I'm not making trading decisions by it, but, I really like to just see what the movers were. Marcos H. Look at the poly. That move is the result of a one-day fat finger. Let's see. Let's zoom in on the weekly. Okay, still there on the weekly. Let's zoom in on the daily. This is all trading over here. That's all trading. Let's take a look at the 4-hour. Okay. Yeah, I see what you're talking about. So this whole zone right here, just on the 4, is 42%. That's a lot, right? 42%. Let's hit the hourly. Okay. So here's the candle in question for sure. So if you're on the hourly, right? Marcos. So this is a perfect example of what you were just talking about with fat finger, right? If you look at the hourly chart and you see all this trading, all these candles, everything like this, it's all, normal trading. And then you see this, yeah, it's time to disregard it, right? So we go up, we just measure it real quick, say, all right, 41%. But now let's look at the real trading. All of this, gap filled, 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 right? So up to here, minus that large wick, up to there, we could say is actual trading. So it's about 13% of this candle that's garbage, right? Or, it's like, I would say it's garbage. So if we go back and we say, well, what's 13% from here? It's about here. Okay, so about there. So that part of the action is fat finger, not realistic trading or not legitimate trading. It could have been breakout, could have been a stop on. It could have been just someone just put a fat finger and just ended up messing up the trade. But if we look at it, right, that's right to the 3618. So 3618 of legitimate trading, and we're still right at the zone here. So as long as this is above this support resistance right here, then we're cool. We're cool. So price discovery still doesn't start until above it because you do have this wick here, even if this wick was the same deal, right? So you still have transactions, buried in there that happen at those levels. But I give them like less weight. You know what I mean? Like I'm not going to sit there and draw a trend line on a fat finger. That don't make no sense. Really thinking Zill could be at the bottom. You still on engine? Oh, you said. Well, what's funny is you said poly. I'm thinking poly. I was just talking about poly, and we were on the engine chart. And we still found something to say. All right, so let me take a look at poly. So poly BTC was a fat finger. Let's see. Poly BTC. All right. Well, on the dump, you're probably talking this guy right here, right? So let's see. Let's see the weekly. Yep. Let's see the daily. Yep. Oh, yeah. We looked at this the other night. I think we saw it on the 15-minute, right? We were just looking at this. Was it not on the 15? I thought it was. Of course, I'm going to have to go back. There we go. There it is. There you go. Right there. Yeah. Yeah, which remember we were looking at the peak moves for the day, and we were like, you know, what the hell? There was like a massive, massive, massive move on Poly, and we pulled up the chart and we're like, no, not really. 360 something percent, and and it was all just this little candle over here. I don't remember if it was on the 5. I'm trying to think. It should have been. Oh, that's 5 months. Well, don't worry about it. Yeah, so good call. And that's why you get your data, right? And then you pull up the chart. Now what's funny is, look at this. It's not far off. Not far off. So some of the, I mean, yeah, they are fat fingers, don't get me wrong. And it's a 35% difference. But some of those are targeted. Now, the crazy thing is you can't make these orders on Binance. So it's very interesting how that even got there. Right? Binance doesn't let you do orders that like unrealistic buy and sell orders because they're either too high or too low, you know, market protection, that type of thing. So I would love to dig a little deeper and find out more with that, you know, how that even got there. What do we got? Zill? Wallbanger. What's up, man? Zill. You think Zill is finding a bottom, huh? Let's see. You Zill BTC, you ETH. What's the deal? All right. Let's see. I think I got some notes on here from something else. So I'm just gonna get rid of that for now until I know what it actually says. All right. Zill. What makes you think Zill has found its bottom? I mean, currently we have support all the way down the chain. This is a nice cup and handle play. We're actually right at that retracement level. That's what we're trading right now. We lost. We had for a minute the 200, lost it. We had the 100, lost it. We lost everything, man. We lost the 8, 13, 21, 55. Yeah, we lost everything. Let me see. Maybe you want ETH or something. Previous support for Zill is around 360. If it goes to that, I would double bottom there, but it looks like it may go up. You think it has more to go down? Well, I mean, I haven't like analyzed it yet, but I'm just visually looking at it, and you know, you got support down here, and you got support right here. So, you know, we'd be looking at these levels as targets if price action is dictating that it's going down. It's in a clear local downtrend for sure. You got a level over here that could play nice. So let's put these levels up and let's take a closer look here, right? Let me get this back. All right, so let's say we did that. Let's say we did this. Let's say we did that. Now, these are just very rough, so don't, you know, hold me to them, but just to get a visual idea on what we're looking at. So as far as structure is concerned, overall, for the trend, we're clearly still in very much a downtrend. If we look at the bigger picture, right, we came down, had a nice pullback, or a retrace, came down again, had a nice retrace, came down. Now you failed to make a lower low, so you got swing issues here where you would do something like that. Came up top right here, failed to make a higher high after trying to create a trend, so you would do another swing failure, something like that. All right, so now you got yourself a symmetrical triangle, broke south, found resistance right here on the 100-day, broke down, made new, is that an all-time low? Yeah, basically. All-time low or double bottom from very early price action. From here, things changed a little bit. We got a nice move up. It was good. Came back down, made a higher low. Had this big cup and handle. That all played out really nicely. Ended up getting some pretty good gains out of here. Target up top, made a higher high, so that's good. Higher low, higher high. Failed to make a higher low, so this was a questionable area right here. And that's something that we would do something like that on to get a better idea on what's shaking. Came back up, bounced back, made a higher high, higher low. Failed again to make a higher high. So this was another failure, but that's a double top, dropping down, came back up, for another higher high, and that was the end of it. From here, we dropped down low, real low, real low, real low, real low. Right here is where we started to find a little bit of support. All right, so support on that leg, at least for what I have drawn here, which I'd have to double check why that even exists, because that was during this move. Okay. So let's put this up top over here, and let's take our bottom from that, and we'll take it for the full move, right? So right here. So from the bottom to the top, local trend, what do we got? We are currently finding resistance right here. 618. So at the 618, right, if we've already lost the 618, you have to look at the next level, right? So the next level would be the 786. So that being said, is there anything bullish about this? Is there anything trend reversal like about this? Check the RSI, nothing really going on there. So we could say, okay, as far as price action is concerned, do I think we found a local bottom? No, although I do like this. All right, I like this support leg here. This is really good. Figure we came up, we tested it, came up, we tested the 618, we failed, we're getting pushed back down. So this would be the next target I would be looking at. If we are to fail this, then I'm looking at the 786. From the 786 to the 886, which is confluence to the bottom area here, which was the retest on that push up, right? So this big push up, this was the pullback area that we had here. And that pullback is now going to be an area of support in future trading. So I don't think that, let me put it this way. I don't see anything super bullish about this. All right, just in the grand scheme of things, okay, we have a higher low, so we could go off of that. We could say price is trending and doing this, and that's okay. All right, but that's a big pullback from this move. But again, the 618 is respected. It was respected all this time as support, and then we failed to keep it. So yeah, it's something to keep an eye on. I like when they range a bit, which is nice, but I would look for a break above range, not below range. This right here, we were on range for a while, broke below it, right, retested and failed, and now we're coming back. I would imagine minimum we're doing something like this, or you can retest this trend line, although the trend line isn't confirmed just yet. This is just that's just your second anchor, right? So, if we were to be realistic, let's just say we test this line, right? Let's say it fails, then my next stop would be the 786. All right. I hope that helps, dude. Wall banger, right? So I hope that helps. Of course, it's no guarantee. This thing could go up, 400% tonight. That's my disclaimer for everything. Yeah. This thing could, it could go up 10,000%. No, but I mean, realistically speaking, I don't see anything bullish besides this support level, which is nice. Finding support over here is great. Coming up and testing 618 is great, but it failed. The 618 was stronger than the candle. So, what do you get? You get failure, rejection. Rejection is downward price action. So that's what we're looking at right now. On the smaller scale, this is our mini support, right? We're on the daily chart, so if we were to zoom in on the 30-minute or the hourly, we'd probably see a lot of trading on here. The attempt to break it, failed. This attempt to break it failed on the daily. We probably won for a few candles on the hourly, and now we're trading off of it again. The blue, the orange, and the green, respectively, is 8, 13, and 21 moving averages, right? Those are all above it. Those are all going to be resistance. Then we got to deal with the 55, the 100, and the 200 just on the MA side, let alone previous levels of support and resistance that we're going to have to deal with as well. So let me get all this crap out of here. But yeah, so that's what I got. I hope that helps. Hope that helps. Let's go back and scope those 30s again, because that's always exciting, and you only get to do it once a month. So storage BTC was up 228%. Currently has lost 75% of those 228% gains. Super sideways here, creeping up green, slightly bullish on the 5 minute, but the lower time frames, 15, 30, and an hour, are showing sideways, slightly bearish, while no strong trend on the upside for the longer time frames. In fact, sideways, slightly bullish. But Theta, let's take a look at Theta. Theta is ripping it. Everything except for the 5 minute is strong uptrend. 168% up. Currently lost 5% of that 168 gain. That's pretty ridiculous. So let's take a look at Theta BTC. So when you're talking strong uptrends, right, the idea, if you're a trend trader, right, the idea is to be able to get in on that trend, you know, during pullbacks, or at least trading within the trend, right? That's always good. Now on the smaller look, right, it looked like we were making new all-time highs, but it's not the case. We got trading back here. So let me pull up the monthly chart. I just want to see what it looks like. We're not going to have a whole lot of history here. Okay, so for those pattern guys, when you see something like this, slightly cup and handily, you're going to expect a big push down. That's why I have a target down here, 2638 would be a big push down, which would give us like a handle and then, you know, gains up. But that remains to be seen. We like to look at the bigger picture first, and then we start zooming in. So another cup and handle right here. Here's your cup. Here was your handle. Found support on the 200. Bounced off of it, and then you got good gains. You know, at least you got your 100% plus another, right? Previous levels of horizontal support resistance ended up being resistance right here. Another push back down until this big push up. So on the daily, you had 1, 2, 3 big days. So far, yesterday was completely sideways with a big push down that got rejected. So that would have been your 236 grab if you were a very shallow pullback player. So if you were super shallow, you would have hit the 236 front running a little bit. You would have gotten tagged in on that candle. But we haven't done much from it except go sideways. The red area is considered historical resistance because that was the candle that found its high after listing. So this is listing, right? And then it comes in on the next day of trading. Trading came in, pushed it all the way up. That was a huge play, 46% up, pulled itself back down. And then since then, it's sort of just been in a nasty downtrend. Sideways range, good push up, came all the way back down for a big cup and handle, and then now we're doing what we're doing here. Now, I'd like to call this whole thing a big cup and handle, and, you know, technically we can, just not on the daily chart, but you'd be able to pull this whole thing up. I'll show you real quick. It would look similar to this. Let's do that. All right, so it looks similar to that-ish ballpark. Let me get the low, actually. All right, and then you would have your handle pullback, which is super shallow, not very deep, and then you'd have these particular gains here. If we did measure that out for giggles, because who doesn't like to giggle, let's take this off here. Let's put this over here. Let's go up to the top, 132. And then we take this from the breakout, play. So these aren't bad targets to look at. For further upside, you would be looking at this area right here as target zone if you were to play the huge cup and handle. So if that is the case and that was the move you were playing, then you're cool with all of this, and then you're looking for something like this. And at that point, you should have taken profits, and you'd be either out of the trade or look for continuation, right? But this whole zone right here is looking slightly exhausted because of the candle that we painted today, this candle right here, not too good. 0.32%. What is that? 12 sats difference. So it's not great. Currently, now this candle's only been open for a half hour, but currently sideways, no big push either way right off the bat. So there's plenty of time to see what's going on with that guy right there. All right, what do we got? What do you think about mana? Yeah, we'll scope out mana. I'm small time and just holding KMD. That's all good, Wallbanger. Let's see here. I hope my bag's pumped so I don't have to smash my hands all day. Theta snapshot on the 12th, I believe, for airdrop. Theta fuel on the 15th, so might only have small retracement before a snapshot. Yeah, that's a great thing to bring up there. When you do have FA that makes sense with current price action, it's always good to at least just familiarize yourself with what's going on in the market, because that could end up being, you know, a big deal. All right. So yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Chingas, you look at Loom for me, brother. Yeah, absolutely. Let me pull up mana first. What is that? Bad Andy? Bad Andy. That's an awesome name. Let me pull up mana first, and then we will take a look at Loom. What was that? Was that mana BTC or mana ETH? If I don't hear, I just kind of assume BTC, but that's okay. Depending on the style of trading and the volume, then that's what we're looking at. Okay, so mana. Yeah, mana is a hot topic. We've been talking about this nightly. Broke out of this range, very good, right? Push up, nice breakout, good retracement, and then a retest of the range. This is what I like to see. So this would have been the aggressive buy target. Sometimes I do the conservative or the aggressive. Really depends on that particular coin. But this right there, okay, that would have been your aggressive entry. And that's because you had the breakout, you had the pullback, and you had the retest. Okay? Retest not only of range, but retest of previous structure high is always important. So that's nice. We did get that. I did not go with the aggressive target. All right? I went with the other target, which is this guy. Right? So what's going on here is I like to let this settle out just a bit, and we have more resistance that we have to deal with on top of a 200-day and a 100-day resistance. So if I were to hop in, let's say right here, and then we see massive resistance and we come down all the way over here, right, that doesn't make too much sense to get into that trade. So sometimes you just like to let the trade mature a little bit. You get a little bit more information from it, and then you can start placing targets and taking those trades. Now, I know people that are already in these trades here from the aggressive breakout, and that's awesome, and they're making gains. Don't get me wrong. So if you played the aggressive one just to the 100-day, it's a 12% gain, right? That's fantastic. Now, this particular chart has a lot of previous levels here that we might have to contend with. If we don't get more big 35% candles like that, then yeah, we're going to be hitting our head all the way back up. And that's only a portion of the up, right? The bigger picture paints a much different story. All right, so the bigger picture, well, we're not talking about those. But the bigger picture does certainly show sideways within this channel, almost for the history of the coin, right? We had this lower leg after listing, big shoot up, but then from there it's really just been in this channel. There's no telling whether it's going to be able to break this level this time when it does eventually get back up there, or if it's just going to get rejected again. So something to keep in mind. I wouldn't call it a super long-term trade, but I would play these levels. I want to see this push up above this level here and retest. Then I'll feel a little bit more confident, but I do need it to get out of this. I need it to flip the 100 and the 200. That's just asking for trouble, just buying into resistance, just doesn't make too much sense. So this would have been a good trade on the aggressive buy, right? to, you know, just up to, even just up to the 200. It's probably 10%. Still good. Still good nonetheless. All right, can you look at Loom? Yes, I'll pull that up now. When I first came across Trading Room, I saw the 2 pink and then lots of dark green, so I bought in, but had a stop loss in. It hit the stop loss and then did about 20% that day. So you're a little tight on the stop loss. KMD looks like that now on Trading Room. Okay. Let me pull up Loom. Loom. BTC. Let's take a look. All right. Loom. Yeah, we looked at this chart too. Okay, so right off the bat, daily is getting hammered by that 200. So if you're familiar with MAs, that is what you're looking at. Let me just make that. Let me make that very clear. That guy, that is what you're looking at. All right, so flip this, flip that, and then you have opportunities to go long. All right, until you do any long buy here, you're buying into resistance that's already painted out for you. But what else we got here? So broke out of range. Range is good. Let's get out of this. Let's put our little range thing on here. I would say just by eye, similar to a little breakout zone. Yeah, I mean, I would do this because of these candles here. So up to the candle bodies, right? So I'm cool with this. This is good. It's a tiny little breakout. It's not fantastic, but it is lining up perfectly with the 200. So just based off of what I put here, I want to be taking this trade no matter what, right? Because we haven't broke out and closed above it. When I was just talking about aggressive buys, right? Your entry, this is your entry, right? After you break out. Okay, so maybe I shouldn't have said that. I want to see this. I want to see a breakout play up. I want to see it come down and retest it. And then I want it to do that. This would be the aggressive, right? And then after you got that, after you have your breakout top, then you could do something like that and say, all right, well, let me see what happens when we get to, you know, the 618 or the 5, and let me take a look at previous levels here. You know, something like this. This zone would be an area of interest, or what are the MAs doing? But if this bounce looks good, I'm gonna, you know, I'll buy it right away. You know, I'll clear this candle, I'll clear this wick, and then I'm in. Okay, so I'll be buying right here. So I want to see, but I want to see this. I want to see a break out of range. I want to see a retest, right? The aggressive one is on the retest because your stop's got to be super tight if support fails, right? If the retest fails, then you're out of the trade and it's just a losing trade. So I want to see the push out. I want to see the pullback. And then you can start looking at longs to get in and get an idea of where you might be headed based off of those targets. But because of this previous wick, that would be my first line of defense, saying that's our first level of resistance. Really, it's more like down here. That's our first level of resistance. We flip that, and then, okay, I feel better about going long. I have my confluence about taking the trade long. Know what I mean? All right, let's see what we got here. KMD looks like that on Trading Room now. Loom maybe bounce down to the low, 1,300, and then go up. Thanks, Crypto Bull. And, yep, that's why I'm skeptical on it. Dude, thanks. Okay, cool. Yeah, for sure. When you're in range, right, you could range trade, which, you know, you basically short the top of the range and you long the bottom of the range, and you do that until something tells you you're out of range, right? until you're out of the range. You know, you close up and over it, and then you're out of it. That'll give you something to look at. Now you can always do patterns within range. You can always do breakout plays. So there's 100 different ways to look at this chart and decide what works, right? This is a W pattern right here. You can see that play. You can see this breakout play right here. You say, all right, you started trend up. You know, if anything crosses down below, you go short, right? So then you short it. You would have gotten that. If you play your historical support resistance, right, this aqua line here, right, that would be your targets. So anything short, that's where you get out of the trade. If you could short this, which you can't short Loom, so that's kind of pointless to talk about, but still, nonetheless, it's a trade, or that could be your entry, right? That could have been your entry to go in, go long. If you play MAs, you know, you basically long to the larger one above you. So this is the 100-day right here. So you could take these long plays here right up and call that resistance. It didn't quite hit, so that's too bad. It hit all the way over here, well, right here. So you'd be out of the trade right there. It also depends on how strict you are within your trade setups. You know, you could be very conservative or very aggressive, which could get you in or out of a lot of trades. Sometimes a lot earlier and sometimes a lot later. Right? What do you think about KMD? Let's take a look at KMD. Komodo. All right, this is the Trex chart. Definitely have more history on here, which is good. In fact, let me put the week up. All right, so, you know, clear downtrend, sideways channel, which is nice. Range bound for a little while, a little breakout to the bottom low, but that ended up getting stopped. So, little previous retrace over here on the pullback. That's nice. So, first thing I do is something like this. If you're familiar with what I do, I just come in, I do something real quick, just get some ideas of some levels. You know, none of these are what do you call it? Set in stone, right? These are just, you know, these are ideas for me to come back to and look at something later. Just so I like to just throw those on there, and then I'll throw a trend on to see what we're looking at overall before I do anything too crazy. Do something like that, bang bang, and then I got a little trend on there, and then my bottom trend is, this is already broken, so there's not too much to look at right now. I could take a look at that later. This could be, this could be resistance coming up in the future, right? And then I would take this guy over here and then say, well, this is definitely ranged, so let me do this. And even I would do something like that. I would consider that like almost more of a breakout down than I would range. Visually speaking, this looks like a majority of it was within up and down levels, and not so much those two candles. They're sort of like outliers, so I'm not worried about those. So then I swing back to the daily and have a better look at what's going on. All right, so here we are. This is my range. You can see we popped our head out a few times. This is nice to see, because this would have been your, you know, aggressive entry right here, and would have failed. Right, so pop up, close above, come back down to retest. But if you bought right here, right on the retest, it would have failed. Not only failed, it would have gave you one opportunity to get out, but then straight down. All right, same deal here, but this nothing closed, right? So we're not even concerned about that. So we are looking at a few things here. Breakout above range, which is nice. Came back for the retest and failed. Came back down, push, found support on our 8. This is that blue line right there. That's good. At that point, now we've already got support now from all the big guys, right? The 100, the 200, we're good. 8, 13, 21, 55, everybody's happy. Had this massive push up here, which you'd have to zoom in a little bit to see if that's a fat finger or not. But regardless, you had a big push up, a nice pullback, and then you sort of ranged out again, right? You had this new range to deal with. So now you got to do something like this. Just for now, temporary. This isn't doesn't hold the same weight as the range we just broke out of. But it is something to look at visually. So you came up, you had a good pullback, you found support on the 8, finally broke out of range, came back down, didn't quite retest it. Now you didn't retest it on the daily. That doesn't mean on the hourly maybe it was retested, but It would have all had to happen within that same candle. This looks like a pretty volatile candle. I mean, just in what moved over here, you're talking 34 something percent that was already given back. All right, but this is okay. All of this is good. All of this is good. You lost the 8 for a minute. You found support on the 13. So it's nice to know that both the 8, the 13 are all playing well together as support. It gives you multiple layers of defense. It gives you ideas for stop losses, the whole 9 yards. So if we were to do this and say, what's our trend looking like right now? You know, something similar to this-ish. Of course, that's going to be green for support, and we would do something like that. Now, it's not a perfect trend line, but it's just an idea for now of what we have going on. So I'm closer to that. Okay. This is okay. I like this. I like this, but this throws everything off. So if we are to play that, then we're going to come in on the bottom of the pullback. We have this pullback right here. We're going to get the top. We're going to see what we're sitting on. All right, 618 broke right through. Didn't quite hit the 786. It's kind of an oddball level. All right, sort of sitting right in between the 786 and the 618. Let's put on the 70. Let's do this for a second. Well, that didn't. What's going on here? Oh, what? Oh, jeez. All right, hold on. Hold your horses. There we go. Well, okay. All right. I'm sorry. I'm doing it all wrong, but I still don't. I don't see my marker. I put something on here and I don't see it. So let's do it again. Oh, did I? Probably didn't hit the button, so don't mind me. 709. Let's mark it. Do it. 709. All right, cool. So this is a super interesting level because it pops up on some charts sometimes. This 709, you know, for whatever reason, some crypto head out there really likes it, and that's the deal. So it happens. So you know, we're gonna use it. So here's what we're looking at. You already got the big push, the big retracement down, right? From that big move up. You've already found support. You're climbing your way back up. So all entries here are basically lost, right? You're looking for the next move up past, right, this area here, right? That's back to your zero line, right? So that's what you're looking to get back to minimum. And then from there, you're looking to book profits if you were on this trade. So if you were on that trade, you could do something similar to this, where you're looking to get an idea on what you would be looking at as far as targets are concerned, right? So you want to go right to the bottom there. So you'd be looking at something like the 1618, 2618, right, for these current moves. So for now, let's just do this. Let's just put a line there for now. A little line in the sand. So I can get rid of this. Okay. And now we want to look at previous support resistance levels, right? We already had the 1 here, so I didn't that was already there from when I added it right here. Okay, so that's one area of interest we already have to pay attention to. Now coming up, you know, this level, it did a few things, a little bit on the pullback there, a little on the retracement, but nothing crazy. This one here, similar to this top end zone, which is all right, but really just cuts through the mess over here. It's good area of support over here, good area of support right here. So it might have some relevance, it might not, but I'd say for this move right here, you know, your opportunities to get in were in this ballpark based off of this candle and based off of the pullback, right? Your next move's up. So if you are to buy this, right, you want to get in on, you know, a 30-minute chart, a 15-minute chart, a 5-minute chart, see where the pullbacks are, see where these dips are, you know, where you got that push, and then you can go in and try to ride it at least back to the top, and then your next targets are going to be this 31,150. 32,152 and then 36,501. Right? How's that? Does that sound good? Anything So with Raven, you would look for it to clear the 100 DMA since there is no 200. Yeah, I mean, you gotta, you have to look at the chart and just see, that's not a rule, so to speak. But it is, yeah, if you don't have that history, then you go with the next best thing, which would be the 100. So this is what we're looking at for Raven. So Raven right now, right, here's the 100. 100's acting as resistance, giving it a little bit of trouble, not able to push back that zone there. These levels here are previous historic levels of support resistance that we tagged out, key, swing high, swing lows. And then we have our range set with our fib from bottom of the move, right? So bottom of this push up to top of this push up. And we're looking at this zone here as a pullback area. So if the trading is to pull back, swings into the 309, 323 zone, then we would be looking at continuation and trying to get back within that trade for longer term, right? So we do have these areas to consider, and then of course we have the aqua line, which is another area of support resistance. So yeah, I mean, if we broke out of this wedge, right, this broadening wedge, I don't know if you can see that, but the red line and the green line, this is just a big wedge, right, that we've been trading in and out of. So it's something to consider as we get closer. Pattern traders are going to short that. Right, they're going to try to short this down and push it all the way down to the green line, and then back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. So it's something to consider. At least have those options open so that you know what's available. I'm not sure what that line's doing there. We're going to get rid of that thing. Now this for the swing, right, for the swing low, this ends up being our resistance currently right now for today's trading. But we are expecting to see, there's a nice move up, and we would like to see some type of continuation. I would just like to see a pullback into this zone. Now we kind of already got it, so it might be a little too late. If we front run the 5, we would have had it, but otherwise we just missed it. And if you see this brown line, that's your 55. So your 55-day moving average is this guy right here, and that's exactly where it stopped, and that's exactly where it ended up finding support and pushing back up, and now we're making these highs right here. So something to consider. It's not a bad play all day. Raven is moving right now. We can see the last time it moved pretty big, though we lost everything and then some. So you have to keep that in the back of your head. All right. Got in at 2632. 2632. 22. So 263 on this chart. Wow. What? No. You get it. Was that Ethereum or is that Bitcoin? Let me see. Let's see. RV and ETH. Let's try that. Oh, we can't. What? Is there no ETH pair? Oh, no, just Tether. Okay, Binance and Tether. Interesting. And only on Trex, too. Jeez. Let's take a look at that real quick. Let's see what's shaking over here. So, the Bittrex Tether pair has broken its 100-day. Yeah, all right, let's fire this puppy up. Let's see what's going on here. So, intra-trading, 4-hour chart. Of course, things are going to look a lot different on something like that. I mean, we got areas where just like nothing happened. All these big gaps over here. It's just it's an incredibly ugly chart. Yeah, let's just go back to the daily. All right. So with this, key levels here, 140. Coming creeping up, 147. The bottom of that swing low, swing high, I'm sorry, 151. All the zones that we're trading in right now do have current support from the 100-day, yeah, from everything, right? 150, 8, 13, 21, 55, blah, 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 blah. Still, overall, obviously, still in a downtrend. Nothing has changed that yet, but this is nice. This is real nice. So take this and this, right, and just get a glimpse and overall idea, right, and break out from the opposite side of the trend from a trend back in November 28th. So nothing, too crazy, but a few months. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. Not a lot of history on this chart, so it's not really too much you could do with it, unfortunately. It's not like it's not like we're trading Microsoft or something. There's just not a whole lot of history. You got a bit of well, you had a descending triangle here, which broke south and just went sideways. Then you have your range zone right here, which would be something similar to popping up over here and doing something like this. So you got like multiple levels of range right here, where this was like another ranged out area. But that's good. That's good. A breakout above is good. Again, there's a tether pair, so it trades a little bit differently, especially on the closer time frames on lower cap coins. Right? You know what I'm saying? All right. Good deal. Yeah, let's take one quick look just at the daily on the scanner, and then I'm going to hop off, and I'll try to come back on later tonight. But let's just see. Let's see, since we kind of did the monthly a little bit. Let's go to the daily, and let's just see what moved today, basically the last 24 hours. And give that a second to load. I'm going to reload that just to play it safe. I just like to have things reloaded, make sure they're all nice and fresh and good. Yeah, okay. Let's go peak gains, 1 day, RCN. So RCN is looking pretty good. 36 up, 24 back. Trend is good from the 30 to the 6 on the up. Sideways slightly bullish. Ethereum pair is similar, but the daily has not converted to bullish yet. Sideways slightly bearish. Sky moved 32, gave back 39% of that 32 already. What else moved here? Steam moved 26. AST moved 25. 20 on the Bitcoin pair. 20 on the ETH pair. What else? BQX up 19. All right. It's pretty good. Well, I want to look at this. I want to take a look at Steam real quick. So Steam with 107 market cap is the highest of, everything we see here so far. Up 26%, only retraced 9, right? Not much at all. We're looking at a trend that if you look at the ETH pair compared to the Bitcoin pair, the Bitcoin pair is trending harder, right? So from the 5 up to the 4, it's converting more of those sideways light green, light pink into dark green, right? And turning light pink into light green. So it looks like Bitcoin is a bit ahead of the race here. If we were to look at it, if we wanted to convert all these to green, you would say that the BTC pair is doing better. So why don't we pull that chart up, Steam, BTC, and let's just see what's shaking, All right. Well, that you can tell right there, finding support on the 200 is great. Definitely want to see that. We'll pop this over real quick. We'll get ourselves one of these guys. We'll throw the magnet on and that on. Let's get some levels real quick. Something that makes sense. Do something a little bit like that. We'll do something a little bit like that. Came up, broke. That was okay for now. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. And our little down range. Okay. That's good enough for now. And let's zoom in and see what we got going on here. Okay. So price came down, 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 down. Found support. Popped up. Made it a higher low. Came back up, failed to make a higher high, so that's your breakout play right there. This could have been your swing. So you would have done something like that. Right, and then you would have played the opposite side up. Broke out, came up, real nice, got tapped out by the 200, crashed, right? So once it hit the 200 right here, it just crashed. And that's important to remember because we just did it right here and ended up closing above it and pushed above it. So that's important to know that last time we did it, we got killed. This time we did it, we found support. It gives you a little bit more confidence in that trade if you were going long. All right, so something similar to that would give you a lower bottom target. Now over here, if we keep going, right, and we make a higher high, then we're okay. If we fail to make a higher high before price returns, right, then we would be looking at a swing failure, you know, something like that. We're not going to put that on there yet because we have yet to fail it. So we can go with our higher high and our higher high. This is going to look like a really ugly trend, but let's go ahead and paint it on there and see what we're looking at. So as far as broadening wedge is concerned, you only have the one test up top. You're riding the whole bottom, riding the whole bottom. So expect to see more trading down, you know, on that trend line as time goes by if this trend continues. All right, so coming down here, finding support for the first time, yeah, in a long time, makes sense. So now we have that level to contend with, and we're dealing with that level right now. Two things going for us is the 200 MA is acting as support, right? And we're in a, you know, local uptrend dating back from, you know, December 17th. All right, so the anniversary of the Bitcoin all-time high. Let me get this out here because that is irrelevant right now. And let me get this out here because that's irrelevant right now. And we want to look at this candle right here being a 14% move, currently 4.8 and 9. So yeah, we're pretty good territory to figure out what's happening here. We could see in the past we had this huge move. I'd like to see what the retrace was. So let's see, or the pullback, I should say. So let's say we did that. This whole move down here just killed it, right? Past the 786. So maybe the 886 or less. Previous structure highs for this micro trend in here. Blasted past that, found support, retested. Came over here, blasted past it, came back down, found support and tested. So this right here I would be looking at as a possible retest. So I would do something like this. All right. So that right there, I'm already saying, you know, chances are we're coming back and we're going to test that. That's my thought. Now that you found the 200, that could be your next level of retest. So it's a little fresh to get any ideas, but I would imagine if we were to paint this now, it'd be premature. You know, this candle just opened, so it's still pretty new. But I want to see the confluence over here in between the 382 and the 5. So nothing crazy. If it landed directly on something, I would feel a lot better about it. And you know, I don't do the magic thing like that, but that would be interesting, right? Nonetheless, so let's say you got topped out over here and that was your high, you broke back down, you hit the 50 and the 50 ended up being confluence with previous structure high, then I'm cool, you know, and I'm going with it. Like we just did on the other chart, you typically don't buy into resistance, so you have to deal with this 200 and say, do you even want to buy it and just smash your head into it, or are you confident you're going to creep back over on it? Once you broke out through it, your next play is usually a push-up and then a retest. So you'd like to retest that 200 and stop using it as resistance like you did here and start using it as support like you're trying to do right now. All right? So Steam needs some maturing. We have to watch that for a little bit. All right? Would I call that a cup... Wallbanger, thank you, buddy. Yes, on the next one for sure. Would I call this a cup and handle? Good question. It's ugly. It's ugly, and it's more of a W, but sure, we could dial this up, something like this. If we see a high in this ballpark, come back down for pattern low. Be right here. All right, so it actually wouldn't change too much. We would do this. We would expect a pullback from the 382 to the 618, which sounds crazy, but that's sort of what we're dealing with. So from the 382, that would be the shallow handle, right, all the way down to the 618, which would be your much deeper handle. Now you can use these in confluence with previous structure highs, MAs, yada, yada, yada. But then you would be looking at setting targets, so bottom, up, right? And then your breakout play. Let me grab this thing. Your breakout play is going to be, you know, popping over here. Once you break that right side of the cup. And then you'd be looking at a play over here to the 32% gains if you just played the breakout. So that's real good. If you ended up going with the retrace over here, 382 or to 5, just to split the difference, or to 618, and we were able to get this push back up, then that's great. You know, that's far better reward. But I mean, nobody's upset with 32%. I don't think, right? I mean, anybody upset with a 32% gain? That sounds crazy. 62%, almost double, if you were able to capture that right there. All right. So yeah. We call it a cup and handle. It's ugly. Typically, I like to see a cup and handle drop down, sort of find range, and a slow roll back up. This is almost like a mini cup and handle here with the handle that failed. You also want to see a couple things happening with volume, right? You'd like to see less volume on the drop down, which is this right here. This should be pretty much flat. And then you got volume creeping up on the out. So it is doing that. That's good. It's got a lot of love right here, pushing its way up and up and up the right side of the cup. So yeah, good call, man. I like it. I like it. Well done. All right, guys, that's a wrap for now. I'll be back on, should be back on later tonight at some point. So until then, I will see you on the exchanges, and happy trading. Happy trading.